Hello ladies, hello gentlemen, and welcome to Half the Race Gone for the November edition of the Audi TT Cup Showdown series from Spa, the very first broadcast, the very first races from Spa here on the channel with me behind the microphone, and I'm really excited to bring you this one. We are gonna have a lot of fun tonight. It's gonna be raining, it's gonna be wet because it isn't really raining, but as you see right now, track conditions for, well, we do have two races coming up. Track conditions for qualifying, and the first one is going to be these wet conditions, and we're going to have dry conditions for Heat 2. So a lot of stuff to figure out for the drivers, of course, going head to head in the Audi TT Cup cars. No ABS used for this one, so it's gonna be a tough one indeed. It usually is, it always is. And it's going to be a fun one for us to follow. Driver levels, well, it's all high standards around here, stacked grid. As we're watching Bottle Sparks of the TX3 team bring it around. Fastest so far here in practice, just a couple of minutes away from start of the qualifying session. And a very good evening to whoever's tuning in already at this early point here. Stick, nice to have you along. And Netso, welcome, of course, and rooting for the Netso boys racing here tonight. I'm, of course, here with my coffee, and I'm, as I mentioned before, really excited for this one to be happening. Let's go on board with the Bottle Sparks just for a look at how it is. Oh, just a bit of a corner cut there on top there through Rodeo, and there is a slowdown penalty for Sparks indeed as he heads up here. That's coming down towards Lecombe, the chicane, the first chicane that is not really a chicane. How much corner names I remember from doing the 24 hours of Spa. As he's trying to serve the penalty through Malmedy, that is. Let's go with the book instead, as he also heads down toward Rivage, or the corner also known as Brussels. Brussels. And then you got the famously no-named corner. And then, of course, this next one got a couple of names as well, mostly known as Puhong. Some call it double gauche as well, but I'll go with Puhong as well. Forge Campus, and then down towards Stavelos 1 and 2. Someone's had a bit of a spin, I think. Exiting Stavelo onto the Paul Frere straight, and that's heading down towards Blanchiment. Which is a thriller in its own right, especially in these conditions, and then breaking into the bus stop in the zone of breaking hearts. Indeed. Round Province, nice to have you along. Good evening, mate. I hope you're well. So what's it gonna be? This is gonna be a 251, I think, indeed, from Book. It's enough to hang on there in second. A lot of spread on the lap times, it seems. I think the drivers will find it difficult to find the consistency in these wet conditions in these cars. Remember, no ABS. And if I failed to mention it before, we'll have 2 times 25 minutes worth of racing, of course, counted out on laps. So interesting stuff to happen Sparks is really well going here. Having dipped into the 48s. We haven't seen too many lap times dip below the 50s in themselves, so it's impressive to see. Purple through sector 1. Maybe Sparks the right one to follow here. As we catch up on the exit of Malmedy. Here into Brussels. And as you see, there isn't really the biggest of needs to go for a wet line, and that's mostly just down to the way I think Gran Turismo models the rain. It doesn't seem to be getting more slippery on the regular dry racing line, and that is of course an advantage that the drivers will be taking in handy. Hello Wake, Zero Practice Boy is here. Let's see if you can do as well as Shomar. I think actually Shomar has been practicing a bit for tonight. Moist cities it is. Oh, it's getting dank. It's getting, it's after dark. It's winter time here in Europe. It doesn't have to be that late before we're reaching after dark times. So that's a good one. Anyway, we have the qualifying session getting underway right about now. Hello, Dredgen. Nice to have you along as well. Our safety car driver from the NES, mind you. These conditions look very sunny and dry to me. And everybody's on the wet tires. And I mean, yeah, that we were supposed to be in the rain. A rundown on this series, Dredgen. I can most certainly give you a rundown on this series. We're running, well, it's not gonna be any type of pit stop racing, unless of course you pick up some of that damage that you really want to be without. Tires and fuel ×1. Using the racing hards regularly, and here of course wet tires are of course permitted. 2 times 25 minutes of racing and running a reverse grid order based on qualifying for positions 1 to 10 for the second heat. Heat 1 uses a rolling start, while heat 2 is the standing start, so we'll have a wet track for the rolling start heat and a dry track for when the drivers have to contend with the standing start. I think they will be quite happy about that. Qualifying just underway now. It's a Super Pole session. It's going to be a little bit longer than we're actually used to because of the conditions here. Lap times creeping up close towards 3 minutes here at Spa today. Hippiehead, nice to have you along. Welcome. It's been a while. Glad to have you along. And I hope you're doing well. That goes for all of you. Shomar seems to have some kind of connection issues or something, but he's just and Wiz is in, and with that, Dredgen, that leads me to the next point of running through the race. We have plenty of time on the South lap. Let's go over the field for this race tonight. We have from TX3 Bottlesparks, who was fastest in practice, who's been fast to get out the pits here and has some clean space in front, which could turn out to be important here. Halbstark is here, the man. Let's see if he can go full stack, full gas, and full force, full spiciness indeed from the German. Dr. Hash, our organizer in the 420 car, is as always here, as well as for TSR, our friends at the Top Secret Racing. It is Wake the Sugarman. Erie's racing team is represented as well by the Wizard himself. Let's see if he can cast his spells upon us tonight. We have Saral GT14 from Spain, and from a little bit further westwards it is Engrosso, the Portugueser. We've got Calm all the way from Canada, taking part yet again. Of course, a well-known face in the TT Cup by now. We have Juna Letska as well from TX3. We have the Flying Fin book, we have Shosse as well for Netso Racing. Wesson as well for TX3. We have the Racing Swordsman from the Netso Racing team as well. Shoma is here. And that more or less sums it up, I think. A strong grid indeed. Aura, nice to have you along. Welcome, mate. So, first couple of drivers having now just begun their flying laps. Seems the field is sort of bunched up. And refs are being kicked up from low down in the range. On the exit from La Source, here through Eau Rouge. There are gonna be lots of but I don't see the Rouge color in it. These conditions. Au Blanc, should probably say. As Sparks through Sector 1, looking good so far, mind you. Superpole qualifying session, just a single chance to get in that lap, so it's all about weighing in how hard do you need to push while still maintaining some kind of a safety marker. Stack, those two very like car, they're actually completely alike. And Dr. Hash, we have another German, Wake, who's on home territory here. Oh, as Dr. Hash sails wide. That's on the entrance, the first part of Pouhon. He's getting caught by Wake here. Wake, who just told us no practice coming into this. Here is LaForge, also easy to sail wide. Maximum steering input, and Dr. Hash doesn't really seem to be liking these conditions at all here at the moment. He's... I was about to say he looks like he's sailing round the corners. And looks like those titties doesn't want to turn at all. So here is Sparks about to complete his flying lap. Same goes for Halbstack. What's it gonna be for the TX3 driver? It's gonna be a very competitive time indeed. A 2:48.5. That's very fast indeed. That's 2.5 seconds up on Halbstack. That's going to be about 2.5 seconds even more up on Wake, who punches in third place. Hash is fourth at the current time. Here comes Wizard. Doesn't seem too bad. Not at all. Currently fourth at Traels is crossing the line provisionally in second place. Here the Finn goes a new second, the first one to get within a second of Battle Sparks, who's really gone quickly. Calm getting across the line in P8. That was Junaleska hopping in third as well. Pretty good lap from the Frenchman, though, a second and a half down, so we're seeing some big time difference here. Much bigger than we've seen before here in these wet conditions. Here comes Wesson, third fastest. So TX3 are ganging up there at the head of affairs. Racing Swordsman goes 8th, and now we need Shosse and Dr. Hash to cross the line. And now Shosse in the bus stop. Not enough steering luck for that car, or it's absolutely true. As Shosse goes for pole position by 0.02 of a second. So Shosse just about managing to edge down Battle Sparks into second place. Now here comes Shoma. who looks very poised indeed, who's been purple on his way around the lap into the bus stop. Seem to be well on the limits of how late you can break into there. And the Frenchman looking for something good. Oh, and just as well. That's 0.05 of a second, and that's less than 1/10 of a second separating the top three in the end, even with some quite big time differences for the rest of the field. This promises to be an interesting race with Chomar in pole position, Chasse in second, then row 2 will be Sparks and Book, row 3 will be double TX3 with Wesson and Jonaleska. Then row 4 will be Saral and Halbstag. Row 5 and Grotto and the Swordsman. Row 4 will be Wizard and Wake of the iRacing team and TSR. And then Calm and Dr. Hash. Row 5 and then, yeah, that's about it. That's indeed about it. So very close indeed. Oh, so very close, this qualifying session. Turning out to be... I mean, let's just have a look here, because obviously big gaps from 4th and on. The gaps get bigger, of course. As I say that, Jonaleska, Saral, Wesson, not too much in it between those three at all. But then from Saral down to Halbstag, that's almost a second. And a bit of a bunch of drivers in around the 51 mark as well. Hello to the Arrows boys. I hope all is well. And now that just leaves us with a short wait for everything to get set, for us to get racing in a short period of time as well. We're gonna be having a full formation lap, of course, so it's gonna take a bit of time. A chance, of course, for the drivers to acquaint themselves with the conditions yet again. Of course, both practice and qualifying having been a good opportunity, I'd say, to do so. And the chaos is complete. Yeah, exactly, Aura. It looked like they were pretty well spread out for the most part, and then all of a sudden 3 of the late runners in that qualifying session really making it close. You know, Haley, I've heard that he isn't too tall anyway, so it could be. Actually, I don't know, I just heard that he's Asian. Sorry! I'm sorry. I am sorry. Is someone actually gonna do a little bit of a lap here, or is it just an effort to bump into the car that's parked at the end of the straight? No surprises really here. The free rage carnage, it seems to be a bit of a returning thing by now. Going forwards with the wang cam. No, Jonaleska, what have you done? Just as about as I was gonna be traveling along wang cam style there. Of course, the wait shall be over quickly, and we shall be there to bring you the race as Wake is back. That's good news. Here comes the driver's briefing. Oh, so in race 1, they're gonna have a flying start right after La Source. That's actually not a bad idea at all. That's a good way to do it, in my mind. So let us see just how this racing is gonna unfold before our eyes. 2 minutes time before someone comes torpedoing like another Daniel Kvyat. Here a bit on the starting procedure. So 35 seconds in on the timer, race goes green. The field then leaves up to 80k an hour down to La Source for the flying start as they exit that one. That is gonna make for an interesting, to say the least, interesting run through through Eau Rouge and Radignon. No doubt about that. Well, I think, Haiti, I think, I'm not sure Buncombe is signed up for the race here tonight. I think he was just kind of happy-go-lucky checking in. But he's been racing with us before. Don't know if it's been in the TT Cup, I'm not quite sure, but he was in one of the TSR GT86 Cup races not long ago. By now, here it is. Just as I say that, the final is underway. So scratch that part about the entire formation lap. They're gonna have some formation meters from the start line and down to La Source. Indeed, here it is. The grid order on screen for you with Chomard, Chasse, Sparks, Spook, Wesson, Junaleska, Sadal, Halfstack, and Grosso, Swordsman, Wizard, Wake, Karm, and Dr. Hash. The running order here: 8 laps, Heat 1, wet conditions at Spa, and for some reason Chomard's windscreen wipers aren't on. That's just the level he's on. Of course, as mentioned before, 35 seconds to pass before they are to... Oh, so they just scratched that part. And they got rolling. Got rolling anyway. So it should be down here at this start line. And yes, it is indeed. Heat 1 is underway, and it's Chomard leading them on. Oh, and already side by side with Chasse. Those two have had plenty of good duels over the last couple of months. And it seems so that everyone has gotten through pretty safely. But that's it. That's an absolute send from Sparks. With something seems to be up. I cannot, for some reason, I cannot access. Oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. Ah. It didn't want to give me the camera angles needed here. Oh. As it's very close indeed here on the first lap. The scrap is real. We're on board with Chomard, the leader still. Sparks having stolen second place from Chasse. Book in fourth place, Halfstack fifth, Junaleska, Wesson, and Ingrosso. And then further down the order, Traels down in 9th position. Think has had some kind of bad luck. Wake is in 10th, then it's Dr. Hash. And it's in Russo now in 8th, the Portugueser himself. Swordsman down in 14th. Chasing Carm was at a big moment. Now, here's the drivers are coming on to the end of the first lap. Let's just have another look at that move on Shoma here by Bottle Sparks. And how Shoma just managed to get right back up on the outside. And then with the cutback through Malmedy. And they're right back to it here as they make it to the bus stop. Sparks does not seem intent on giving up whatsoever. Pushing Shoma for the lead still. And we're only on lap 2. It's still very close together. The entire field, it seems, with no one really having been sent anywhere really bad. Indeed, here's the two TX3 drivers. It's Jonaleska and Wesson, and they are the last two cars that are still really in contact with that lean train up through Radillion here with a real burp onto the camel straight. As we're on board with Wesson. Well, it gets a good run though from too far back to have any kind of dive, and it's a big chance here. Mind you, no ABS for this series, so judging these braking zones, let's just say that difficult isn't necessarily enough. It is very, very, very hard indeed. Bit of a move there. Further down, that's Dr. Hash going at it with Swordsman 52, but or is it actually Wizard? Excuse me, of course, that's Dr. Hash and ERT Wizard going at it in the battle for 11th place. They in turn are both on the tail of Traels. Further up, it's Wake now in 9th place. That means he's battling with Grosso up there for P8. And it's all still very close, all still to play for on lap 2. Oh, it's gonna be a difficult one to pull off from Wizard, but I think he's gonna do it on Traels. That's a very nice move, ERT Wizard. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy this one as we are on board. Braking late, taking the chance, then running and riding the outside line well, given the space. And through LaForge, it's done before they get down to Stavilo. And Wizard grabs 10th place, still has to defend as they come down towards the bus stop. Traels pretty close. Dr. Hash in a fight of his own behind with the Swordsman. And up in front, well, they're still all very close together. Shoma, Sparks, Spook, and Shaze, with the Finn now having moved up into 3rd place. And actually having a bit of a look on the outside of Sparks, almost pushing him along as they run through the bus stop. Bonjour, whoop. It's gonna be the new one. Oh, look at Shazi here. Looks to have a really good run at the Finn in front. And the question is, he's gonna take the chance and send it. He's certainly gonna have a look. Here comes the braking zone. Seems to be late into it. Book manages to get the car turned in. Holds on to 3rd place, all very poised for the battle here in front. Shoma seems to have a bit of trouble breaking away from the trio that's following him at the moment, and then in 5th place, bit way back, then it's Halbstag and Jonaleska. Also close in a good fight. And it seems it's a call actually overtaking here. We can kind of just say a warm welcome to who's tuned in here since we got the race running here on lap 3 of 8 here in heat 1 of 2 in the November edition of the Audi TT Cup Showdown here from Spa. And well, of course, where else to have these wet conditions for the first time in the TT Cup as well, at least here for the first heat. Mind you, for the second heat, with the standing start, drivers are going to be in better dry conditions. So we have to see what kind of effect that's going to have on the pace of the different drivers. Sparks in a really good position here, but picks up a penalty somewhere. It's only 0.3 of a second. It's going to have to be served at some point. A bit of it here through the bus stop. Seems to be very quick. In through there, able to follow Chomard just and about, but the Frenchman gets early on the throttle. Gets a good run down towards the source. Swablu, you've come to just the right place. I can promise you that. We have 7 pairs. That is 14 titties on display. Pardon my poor sense of humor here. Oh, look at this, Sparks. I know the CRN lads are rooting for him here, getting shown the outside. But that isn't necessarily a bad way to attack here. Late on the brakes. And is it going to be too late? Oh, he's going to keep it in, but Chomar's going to keep a hold of first place though. And that might compromise Sparks from the run of Chasse, who's also gotten a better run there. Gotten in front of Book. Since last time we had a look, we're going to take another look at what happened. Is the run on board. We are with Bottle Sparks yet again. Just goes deep into Lecombe. And you see Chomard really gets the run, and then that's Chasse all of a sudden appearing and getting very big in Sparks' mirrors. And as mentioned, yes, stretching the first rain here, race of 2 in the rain. The second is going to be in the dry. So changing conditions to contend with it as well. And this front quartet still very much intact. It's still all very close, though it seems on this lap, Chomard, after that send from Sparks, is really willing to risk it all in order to get in front of the Frenchman. It seems they've been put out the slipstream of Chomard in front, and now we're gonna have to find something in order to get back. If Chomard isn't gonna run away with it all further back. It's a bit of a gap down now to Halbstag and Jonaleska as they both run wide through Blanchemont. Although they manage to keep everything in orderly fashion, they do pick up some small penalties. I think quite a number of penalties are going to get dished out here today. And Chomard now 1.9 seconds. So the Frenchman breaking away here, and Sparks under attack from Chasse, who's certainly going to send it up the inside. At least going to have a look here through the source. But it isn't really working. He's going to find a better place to launch his send. On board now with the Sparks and the Wang Cam. Schuss is going to be too far back, I think. Very good run for Sparks through Eau Rouge. Gaining on Chomard as well. Although I think the Frenchman has this sector covered. Seems to carry more speed on the exits. Schuss with another look. The German really wants to get past. As we're on board now with the book for a panoramic view of the battle in front. There's one of the bollards getting pushed out of the way at no name. Into Puhon they come. Oh, very tidy indeed. Waiting so long before getting on the throttle. And then it's all about controlling the input. Still, these three running very close together. Although it seems at the moment Chomard is running away with it at front. And Sparks having lost a little bit of pace ever since he nearly outbraked himself trying to overtake Chomard for the lead of the race. As we are by now a little bit over half of the way through. With about 3 laps of racing to go. It's still all to play for though. But it is beginning to look good for Chomard, and it wouldn't be his first win in this series. And I don't have a count on how many heat victories he has this year, but it's been an impressive number indeed. Of course, we all know what level Chomard is competing on. And looky look as well. Look at that, a 2:47.5. That's by far the quickest time we've seen today. Oh, and what's happened in the bus stop? There's been a complete reordering. And someone's had an off. I think that's Schuss, who's now down into 4th place. That most certainly is. And Sparks lost a position as well. And has collected some damage, so I think Schuss and Sparks must have had some kind of contact with one another. That looks to be costly in the end, as they're now getting chased down by Junaleska and Wessel, the TX3 duo in positions 5 and 6 at the moment. Halbstag is down in 7th. Wake is in 9th at the moment, or in 8th, I'm sorry, in 9th. It's Wizard. Not too far back on Wake as well, the ERT driver with Saral in 10th and Grosso 11th. And then in 12th it's Calm. Here in 13th place Dr. Hash having a battle with the aforementioned Canadian and Swordsman, the American. So the German here caught up in a cross-continental sandwich. You could say Chomard now leading by 4 seconds. Really taking advantage of the carnage that's unfolding behind. And so it could be said for Book the Finn, who's really done well so far. And Sparks with that rear damage still hanging on to a 2-second advantage down to Schuss, but Junaleska catching quickly, very quickly indeed. As we're on board with the Frenchman. Just struggling to keep the car in line. Really get the sense that this machine just does not want to turn at all. And it gives a very good impression of what the drivers are actually battling with. As they exit Stavelo. And I think Junaleska has a good run on Schuss. Question is it good enough to actually make it a move into Blanchement? Thinks twice about that one, but gets a very good run though down towards the bus stop. I think this time it's going to be for sure, as Junaleska has shown the outside. Schuss breaking late, very late indeed. Trying to defend that 4th place, but doesn't go too deep into it. manages to hold off, but it's clear that Junaledska has the pace of these two for the time being. And now they're collecting up Wesson in behind as well. And that means that Junaledska also has to think about defending from behind now. Just doing a good job, getting a very good run from the source. Super exit, able to defend it there. Shomar's lost a little bit of time, and Book now 3.2 seconds. So the Finn closing in here as we're onto the penultimate lap on the Camel Straight. Sparks holding on to third with that damage. Oh, having picked up a second's worth of penalty there. That must have been through Radillion, I'm quite sure indeed. I can't really imagine what that would be otherwise. Junaledska now having gotten past on Schosse. The question is, what happened for Schosse there on the exit? Just a pure speed overtake, getting the run indeed, and Junaledska straight up into fourth place. Further down, it's Halbstag and Wake in with a very good scrap as well for P7. From the Wang perspective of Halbstag's machine, we are. So for the first time here on the penultimate lap, we're beginning to see some spread for the top four. And Junaledska is gaining on Sparks. Question is the Frenchman gaining enough? Oh, sticking onto the AstroTurf, that's gonna compromise the run all the way down to Blanchemont, and Schosse has got a big run now. And the thing is that from behind, Wesson in 6th place got an even bigger run here. Let's get away from the Wang cam and onto the forwards facing one. Indeed, oh, Schosse is having to go very late and going straight on into the chicane as well. And that for sure is going to cost positions. On to the final lap we go. Let's just have another look. Schosse outbraking himself, as the pictures clearly show, and now it's Halbstag right on the tail. Wake's lost a little bit of ground here as they come onto the final lap, so that might be P8 settled for the Belgian, but anything can happen out in front here as Halbstag is now getting the run on Schosse. And Schosse with the damage will be slightly hampered, I think, both on what downforce the car can produce and perhaps on top speed as well. Chomard 4.7 seconds clear. Book a little bit isolated in second, and it seems to me Sparks is a little bit in the same situation. And then Junaledska and Wesson still pretty third in that battle for, or pretty close in the battle for fourth. Pretty third in the battle for fourth. That's a Dirtenism if ever I've uttered one. So down towards Pouhon. Still much too far back. Wesson. Schosse has had a super unlucky run here in the latter part of the race. Started out so well, that four-way scrap for the lead. Seemed to be on pace with Shoma, but then Frenchman just turning on the afterburners, leaving the rest of the bunch in the dust with nothing to do about it in the end. And here coming into the bus stop, it is indeed Shoma who's gonna pick up the Heat 1 victory from pole position all the way to the checkered flag. Brilliant run from Shoma. Baguettes ablaze. Book for Finland goes second. And for TX3 it is Bottle Sparks taking home third place. And they're gonna grab fourth and fifth as well with Junaleska and Wesson. Then Halbstad's gonna come home for sixth with Shasa seventh and Wake in eighth place. Ninth for Erie's Racing Team and Wizard. It's gonna be 10th for Sorrel. It's gonna be 11th for Engrosso with Dr. Hash 12th, Con and 13th, and that's gonna be about it. Seems we're gonna have Alex Buncombe joining for the next one as well. Interesting stuff. Which is of course gonna be the grid start race. So Shoma, brilliant run, brilliant victory, all around, very good race, it has to be said. So we're gonna have a short break, a short intermezzo, if you will. We're gonna have the dry track on display. Indeed. Wake. What the hell? So, there it is. Dry evening time conditions at Spa. For the second heat, I think we're gonna have a few minutes, 10 minutes of practice and running for the drivers just to get used to the dry conditions, because after all they're a bit different, and that means we'll have heat 2 running in 10 minutes. So if you've got something, anything that you need taken care of, do it in those 10 minutes, because I promise you second heat is gonna be a festival indeed. What's up, Traels? That's I know he's on a pad, but if he was on a wheel, he'd be accelerating with his left foot and braking with his right. That's the best his pants. For those 10 minutes, I see I have run dry of liquid refreshments. And that's no good when you have to talk as much as I do here. So don't go anywhere. I will be grabbing liquid refreshments from kitchen, and I'll be right back. So back I am with you, ladies and gentlemen, if I was a rapper, which I am not. Or am I? Da 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 da. But I'm back with you, and we're still waiting. That 10-minute mark, we're halfway through the waiting session. Someone's hit a bullet there at Brussels. And that's at least it's not like the barrels at Tokyo. There's one of the layouts where you can hit the barrels and put them on track, and everybody else can get duly taken out. Some good stuff. Of course, one thing I should certainly say and mention: if you like what we do with the GT Cup here on Half the Race Gone, do please give us a like, that thumbs up, and if you really like what we're doing here, well, feel free to subscribe to the channel as well for more of the same. Or maybe you want to see what we're doing in iRacing as well for the time being. Sadly, the lads died and killed, if I'm to be correct, I think, at Motegi, at the 6 hours of the Motegi ELMS yesterday. But back come 2 weeks, we'll be back for more 6-hour action. Also, our friends at Imperium Racing will be joining us for a 24-hour race come the month of December, close to the days of Christmas, and much more about that to come in the near future as well. And to those of you who didn't get the details for Heat 2, well, about same distance as Heat 1, but with a standing start and with a reverse grid order for positions 1 to 10 based on qualifying results. As I turned into Daffy Duck for a moment there. That's why I needed the liquid refreshments, by the way. But anyway, it is going to be 25 more minutes of damn good fun here from Spa-Francorchamps. And as we can see here, immediately lap times dropping, getting down closer to 2.5 minutes. So quite a massive difference indeed. So just a few more minutes of waiting time left. Feels like a long wait, these 10 minutes, doesn't it? It's only because the good action is still... Well, there's still more of that good action to come, I should probably say, because we've been in for a good show already in the first heat. Oh, I do feel like the rainy conditions isn't necessarily gonna give us better racing in turn, and in the end it's just gonna make it all the more difficult for the drivers to survive. Some might have expected carnage and drivers with difficulty just staying on track. We didn't really get that for the first heat, but albeit of course a little bit of difficulty for Schosse in the end. Also worth mentioning that Alex Buncombe has joined us when the stock livery. That should be like... we've had a couple of occasions with drivers joining in with the stock livery #1 TT, and that really should be the guest car. But it's, of course, an honor and a great pleasure to have Mr. Buncombe racing with us again tonight. Not the first time that he's racing here on the channel. Let's see just how he does here tonight. 1 minute left till we get the second heat of racing underway. Feel tension building. Already we've seen last month at Fuji, we saw Shomar coming from 10th place to climb up the order and finish it well. And here it is, the final getting underway for Heat 2, the standing start. It is, here is your grid order. Oh, that doesn't look good. That doesn't look very good to me. I don't know who that is, but someone's having a freaky moment on the grid there. Someone certainly is rocking. I have to wonder who that is, but it's gonna be 11 laps of racing with the swordsman in front of Grosso, Halfstack, Sadal, Jonadeska, Wesson, Book, and Bottle Sparks in 8th place. And there it is, green, 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 and someone... someone is in what I'd call a spot of digital bother. And then Grosso is the one leading him off the line. They seem to have come pretty safely through La Source. And it seems to me that it's Chassis stuck on grid in a new rockin' way. Rockin' that funky stuck on grid here. Racing Swordsman's lost out quite big time. Alongside Wizard as well. It's Carmen 12th, Hash in 11th. Up in the lead, battling for it. It's Halfstack and then Grosso. It's Halfstack with the move around the outside into Lecombe. And that is a very nice one. Let's have another look. Instantly we shall. You're on board with Halfstack. Throws it in and around the outside. That's a very good move indeed. And of course, taking good advantage of the newly found grip. That is, of course, this dry tarmac. Jonadeska in a very good position up into 3rd place. Saral in 4th. Book the Finn in 5th. And then Shomar already going for it here around the outside of the Finn through Puhong. But going too far, just a step too far, and Shomar's gonna fall down the order here. All the way down into 8th place. And that might be even more positions lost, as I think Wake is going to be coming through as well. Let's have another look at what happened for Shomar here. Well, let's just have another attempt of actually finding his car first and then having a look at how wide he actually kept it on the AstroTurf for a good period of time and then sailed on wide on the final bit. And then Alex Buncombe right on the tail of Shomar now. Buncombe might be having a little bit of a look into Blanchemont, though it's not really known as a place where you can really overtake. And Buncombe, though, goes wide on the exit, and that might compromise Alex Buncombe. Oh, and from Dr. Ash, that's Wake getting twitchy and losing it on the braking almost. How the Belgian kept that one under control, I really don't know. And I think there has been... Oh, that Chassis is still stuck, and someone went off. Chaotic scenes here. Here it was Wake almost tangling with Shomar. Let's go on board to see what happened out in front. All of a sudden, Chassis' car was right there, and that was Book, I think, dreading actually running into... to Chassis, who's still standing still on the grid there. That's very bad luck. Out in front though, It's still Halbstag battling the Portugueser. And yet again they go side by side through Le Comte into Malmedy. And might be the chance for the cutback here for Grosso, positioning himself well. That's a bit of a chance here then into Brussels, but Halbstag just closing the door, a little bit of a nudge. Unaleska's up into third, and Sparks up in fourth, then Serral, Wesson, Schumann seventh, and then Wake P8 at the moment. And into Pujon they go. Yet again side by side, and Grosso getting the squeeze from Halbstag. And then in behind now, Sparks getting all up in the mix here in the battle for first place. Of course, wanting to take advantage of whatever time can be gained before Chomar gets back at him up here. Oh, that's Halbstag running a little wide. And you see Serral, Wesson, and Chomar still getting close. And well defended indeed from Halbstag now. Side by side is Unaleska and then Grosso. As they go into Blanchemont, is that going to work out for him? Just about. And Sparks looking for a way past the Frenchman in front. Oh, and down behind, someone's getting onto the grass. I think that's Wesson. And that's going to be costly. Chomar up into 6th place. And I'm not even sure that we're on board. Oh, it's Wesson who had to take evasive action not to hit the rear end of Serral, and then getting a big old nudge from Chomar. I think there was nowhere else to go. Wake getting past as well in that situation. Question is if it caused any damage to the Frenchman's car. Certainly didn't. Any of them. Indeed. Now Unaleska having gotten past on and Grosso. Where was that? Let's see if we can have a look at that situation. I think that was into the bus stop, so that's outside of replay range. Sparks still stuck back in 4th place now, behind the Portuguese. He's going to have a look here. He's got a good run, I think, and a good possibility of making something happen here into Le Comte. They come, let's see, he's going to send it. Oh, was there a bit of contact? There certainly was behind, as major carnage ensues for whatever happened there behind. It was a big one. And Wake is now up into 6th place. Chomar has lost places. We're going to have another look at just what happened here. On board with the Frenchman now, chasing Serral, and then it's Wake and Wesson in behind. It's a very good question about what actually happened here, back here, because... Oh! I'm going to need a second look on that one, because that looks strange to me. We'll just hop in a little closer. Serral just seems to have an accident all on his own in that situation. Certainly does turn straight into the wall. Chomar just manages to go around and to cut the chicane, avoiding damage. But all these incidents might be proving costly in the end now. Sparks having gotten past on and Grosso as well. And with that, it's now Halbstag leading Unaleska, Sparks, and Grosso, Wake. Then TX3, Wesson, Chomar, and Dr. Hash. And that is our current top 8. We're going to go on board now with Halbstag, as he's really having to go and show us yet another lesson in that defensive masterclass now, as Unaleska's right on that bumper. Breaking into the bus stop. Screeching tires here. I think that Sparks overshooting the braking zone. That's going to be costly indeed, and that might compromise him from Grosso in behind. And about that, we shall have another look. Indeed, and Grosso all over the bumper, and he's going to have a look into La Source. And in behind, stuff's happening as well here, as Wesson is having a look at TSR Wake. Not managing it though. The Belgian keeps 5th place for now. Tight 3-way scrap as well here. I think Wesson got a little bit of a bad run from La Source, and he's now got Chomar on his tail. then I said out in front, still Halbstack defending from Unaleska. There's a bit of a gap then developing down to Sparks and Grosso, Wake, Wesson and Shoma. Kind of a big train forming here behind third place. That's getting way wide there, Shoma. And same thing for Wesson. Oh, and up in front they're also battling Shoma yet again. Seemingly having a bit of trouble with Puhan here. It's not the first time, losing out big time this time around. It's from a replay from the lap before. Halbstack still defending well. Unaleska still haven't managed to find a way through, and that's impressive stuff, given that the amount of long straights should make it possible to utilize the slipstream for something here. But this time around, I think Unaleska has a run that Halbstack isn't going to be able to defend, since they're side by side. Halbstack though with the inside coming down towards Blanchemont. If he isn't going to get past all the way through into the corner, I don't think Unaleska's going to get it by. They are going to go side by side. There a little bit of scrubbing there. Robin is racing, Halbstack is still holding it. And where did Unaleska go? Unaleska's off! The Frenchman has lost it! And that is gonna be hurtful indeed. Whatever happened there for Unaleska? That's a really good question. I think that looks like a real disconnect to me. Whatever that is, that's really unlucky indeed. And that's left Halbstack with 1.1 seconds worth of advantage. It's left Sparks chasing him down now, clear of him. Grosso, Wake, Wesson, hit again. And then Shoma in P6. That's Wesson with a move on, and Grosso. Wake getting a very good run through there, and the Belgian up into third place here on lap 5. Impressive stuff indeed. Close squabbles in behind and in front, hunting down Halbstack for the lead. He's been holding out all this time, and now it's a new driver he's having to defend against, as Sparks is showing himself in the mirrors, getting closer and closer. And talking about closer, within half a second through the bus stop this time around. On board we are with Sparks into La Source. We're half the way through the second of 2 heats for tonight here, and Wizard is pitting in. Major engine damage, major issue for ERT Wizard. And that's probably gonna be the race over. At least any kind of hopes for a result for ERT Wizard certainly dies with that one. That battle for first place is certainly on, though. And it isn't getting any less hot at all now. Sparks all over the rear end of Halbstag. He's gonna need every single defensive trick in the book to stay in front here for another 5 laps of racing. I think that's gonna be tough, to say the least. One here behind. Wesson is really going wide. That's allowed Shomar up through into 4th place. And back up with the leaders instantly. We really don't want to miss any of this action. Halbstag defending so well. And Bottle Sparks isn't really finding any space to actually get past on. And it's impressive indeed. Through Blanchemont they go. The door is firmly shut. And all of a sudden, that gap was growing at an alarming rate. Shomar is up into 3rd place and will now be chasing the drivers in front. That's been a big send. I think Wake has had some kind of problem in the bust up here. Yep. Carbon copy of managing to lose the rear and then get a hold of it yet again. Well, it's gifted 3rd place to Shomar, who's now put in the fastest lap of the race so far as well with a 2 minute 30.7. Still 5 laps of racing left for Shomar to make his move, and here comes Sparks, knowing that this is about the time to get it done, to get past Halbstag for the lead. Halbstag isn't giving anything though, and they've robbed. And they certainly are racing as well. And Sparks getting the better of him in the end. We shall have another look. Wayne Cam, that time is over as Sparks is pretty much through on the inside. That's a very nice move though from Halbstag to try and defend it. Though in the end, Sparks able to carry the speed around on the outside, take the lead of the race. Now it's all about hanging on to the rear end of Sparks in front. Of course, Shomar 2.7 seconds behind. And still with the several laps left to go, should be possible for these drivers to catch on up. It's going to be a big move. Well, it was at least, I'm saying in quotation marks, Unaleska, just internet issues that looked like the wheel disconnecting or something when it happened, so bad luck anyways. Oh, Shomar with a little bit of a luck up under braking there, Wake. Trying to get a foot in the door, but not really succeeding in doing so. Now attempting to get the run on into the source, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Out in front, Halbstag is still clinging on to the rear end of Sparks, and Shomar has closed that gap by half a second by now it seems, so they are getting closer. They are closing in from behind. And at this rate, they'll make it up to him. The question is, are they going to be able to get past? That is quite another story in the end. Even though here at Spa, you would expect plenty of overtaking opportunities. And now it's Sparks having to go well defensive to hold off Halbstag. Dr. Hash seems pretty marooned on P6 Island. There's quite a bit of spread here in behind, but in front it's still all to play for. It's still closing in. And that could end up putting 5 cars back into race winning contention come the final couple of laps here. It's really, really, really closing in. Sparks still just trying to pull away from Halbstag. The German though still within the slipstream, and that is just making it all the more difficult as they come down towards Blanchemont. And the lights you can see in the background is of course those of the cars of Chomar, Wake and Wesson. And the following 3 positions completing the top 5, they're still all in for the win in the end. 3 more laps left. So we're on board now with the TX3 Wesson. He's also looking for the run on Wake in front. In turn, I think the Belgian more than happy just to get carried along towards the leaders. Trying to absolutely maximize track usage through Eau Rouge. See the slipstream very strong for Wake. It's really gaining on Wesson here. Out in front, Halbstag will not give up. And so even though Sparks caught up to and passed the German after much ado, much fighting about it, that doesn't mean it's all over by now. Through Pouhon they come, down towards Le Forge. Chomar who's gotten passed on Wake now, up into 3rd place. And that actually happened a couple of laps ago, but I think what I actually reacted upon was the fact that Wake wasn't on the tail of the Frenchman anymore, has been put well out the slipstream now, over a second behind. It's now really falling into the clutches of TX3 Wesson. That in turn just go and eliminate both of these drivers in the battle for the race win. Chomar very much still in the running, it seems, as he's now within 2 seconds of the leader, and that's not far away from any kind of slipstream. He could be getting that with a good run from La Source, although he'd need a very good run indeed. It all depends how well Halbstag connects at that corner. Braking zones really getting pushed all in towards the wall there. And though the exit is good, it's not good enough to really be within the zone of suction. The car in front needs a mega run here. Certainly doesn't get that though. Halbstag well in the slipstream, 0.2 of a second. Don't think that's going to be close enough for him to actually send it. And in turn it isn't. Here on the penultimate lap, Bottle Sparks still hanging on to it. And the question is how much time they'll lose from battling here in front. Shoma really pushing it on the exit of Malmedy on that curb. Everybody using it, but he's using every inch of it in that situation. Still a good bit of pressure being put here, but seems Halbstag lost a little there through Stavelo. And Shoma just getting closer and closer. That gap is certainly closing in now. It's 1.5 seconds between Sparks and Shoma in third. Still Halbstag nudged in between. These three drivers could still be in the shot at the win here. Of course, Bottle Sparks in prime position to grab it as they head towards the final lap. Shoma almost losing the tail, just catching the dust on the left hand side, entering the bust up there, but managing to keep it on point and managing to set a new fastest lap, 2:30.5. And I think Shoma knows that this is about last call, but Sparks will be pressuring on and pressing on 100%, that is for sure. Still just Halbstag for complete company, right on the tail, those two so close together. And of course it's in their common interest to try not to battle too much. Any type of door-to-door action here that's gonna allow Shoma right back into it. So they're gonna be... Oh, and there it is though, the attempt from Halbstag to settle it. I think he's actually gonna make it stick. Oh, let's see. As they're gonna go side by side and look as predicted. Who's right there on the tail exiting Malmedy? That's Shoma. Looking to the inside still, Halbstag having to go for it. And Halbstag now taking the lead that they're still not over with though. This is brilliant stuff. With Bottle Sparks through No Name, but he's on the outside here. Oh. And now that's gonna compromise Halbstag though into Pujon. And Shoma goes up a position there. You know what, we're gonna wait a little bit with this replay because we're gonna have to keep an eye out and have a look at the final bits of this battle, because Shoma has now moved Oddman to second place here on the last lap, and with Halbstag being disposed of rather quickly in the end. Here through Stavelo, 1 and 2, half a second. I don't see it really being possible. Shoma would need a super launch through Blanchemont. We're on board with the Frenchman here. And of course, the gap is going to be closing. And they hit Blanchemont. We're going to go for the mega send in the braking zone here. Having a look at it, but it isn't gonna be, and that means that Sparks is gonna be picking up the Heat 2 victory for TX3, with Shoma finishing second right in front of Halbstag, that Wesson and wake of TSR in 5th place. And with that said, it's replay time. First of all, that mega send here into Lecombe, and that's from Halbstag, almost making that one stick. Fibonacci there through Malmedy, and look at Chomar exiting with such pace. Now on board with the Frenchman here. Keeping it clean, and then on that run on the outside through No Name, Sparks getting it. Immediately recognizing the need to just show Chomar that there is no open door on the way into Puhan for him to try anything on. And in the end, it's Sparks picking up the win in front of Chomar and Halbstag. What a race. And a great battle indeed at the end. I hope you all enjoyed that one. I think my suspect that was the people in top banging on the floor because I was screaming. Sometimes I get a bit carried away. I'm sorry. That's how it goes. With that said, we're gonna hop into the party of Mr. Hash. It's here, I think. No? That Aura wasn't on the lads? Or what? Oh well. Sorry for the bouncy heads. Do my best to... Tires whining indeed. Let's get rid of the... What's up, party people? Party people.
Hello. Hey, party people.
Sparks, are you here?
Yes.
Good.
Yes, I'm here.
Good, because I want to have your take on those final couple of laps. I don't think intense really quite like is enough of a word. Do you think so?
It got quite intense near the end of the race. Near the last lap, I knew Harps was going to send it, so I was somewhat prepared. And I see John was coming at the back like, oh, I have to defend from two people. And it nearly worked out in the end. But yeah, it was a pretty fun race.
Well, it was certainly fantastic to look at from our perspective, so looked pretty enjoyable, and congratulations on a great win there in the end. That was certainly fantastic. Chomar, 10th to almost first, but just falling short. Do you think those early race incidents, you had a couple of close calls and running wide in Puhan as well at some point, do you think that that was the decisive moment for you in the end?
That's definitely what's missing for P1, that's for sure. Because maybe I've lost like 2 seconds in the process, plus 2 seconds because of the tires, so I couldn't brake, turn, or whatever. So yeah, I think that's what's missing. Because if I was closer and in the slipstream a few laps before, I could have catched way easier. Because I had to push a lot to actually catch. Because with the slipstream, Halbstag didn't lose ball spark, so in the process they were keeping together, and I couldn't catch back for having the slipstream myself. I think it was worth 7/10 a lap, something like that. So yeah, that's what's missing for the second race, I guess, because I only missed like 5/10 or something. And if I was closer, I would have just tried and launch it, because I have nothing to lose compared to the others. So
well,
yeah.
In the end, not all bad, since you, after all, did win the Moisty Heat 1.
And that's enough to get the title in the end, so that's why I say I don't have anything to lose now. I just can send it. And
you can just full center.
Yep.
Well, congrats, Chomar, on the title, and congrats on a strong couple of races nonetheless. And that leads us to our third place finisher for the second heat. Halbstag, if you're with us.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely sent it.
That was
Oh yeah, that went really well for me to begin with. At the perfect start because I got in Grosso at end of the Camel Straight, and the swordsman pulled over. Then I tried to build up a lead. Unaleska caught me, and we actually worked together pretty well to get away. Until he just disconnected somehow. Such a shame. I don't know what happened. It's cursed. Yeah, and I just saw Sparks coming, and yeah, Jomas from the back. So I'm so glad I could still hold on to Sparks. I think he did a bit of mistakes now and then, so I could keep up. And yeah, at the last lap I just said to myself, okay, it's either first place or third, because Jomas was right there, and I know it's a stupid move to make, because Jomas will get us both if I do it, but I did. I just committed, and Sparks was prepared. It was pretty predictable. And yeah, didn't work out again, but almost. Really close. But still a phenomenal race. Really enjoyed it, yeah. Good stuff.
In the end, Halfstack, brilliant defensive display from you and a great third place. Congrats on that. And let's stay with me here because we're about to commence with my... Oh, I was about to say my favorite. I think it's actually it's almost my favorite. Am I allowed to say it? It's my favorite. It's my favorite part of the show, the part where we get to see minis do some really stupid stuff. It's time to go backwards racing around Sukupa. You know, you've seen it before here. It's a returning feature. Just like the red versus black, it's kind of a contest on what's the most stupid. I don't know, in the end you get to decide. But if we could have the drivers line up on the finish line, and we shall get one lap of backwards racing from Sukupa underway. I think we're up on something like 7 or 8 cars. It's gonna be hectic as hell indeed. And I should try my best not to yell my neighbors out the house.
It's fine.
Also, Pigman, nice to have you along. Good evening. You've tuned in at just about the perfect moment, I think. Won't it give me a shot of the entire, like... Oh, the Belarusian is...
Oh, that's tempting.
We have a Dane upon as well. Grinan. That's proper Danish.
I'm lined up with the line. That's your fault.
Who is Shoma? I can't tell.
Don't push me.
Someone's...
Cause I'm close to the edge.
Okay, in chat, it's gonna be coming.
Let's do this!
Showa, what are you doing?
And let's go! No.
And let's go! Go!
Let's push
Streaming down towards turn 1 they come!
Mr.
That's...
Sandwich,
They're...
stop
They're... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 wide into turn 1. I've never seen anything like this.
Stop touching me!
And who's grabbed in all of this? Who's actually in the lead? I'm gonna need a little more graphics to actually tell people apart here. Come on, give it to me.
Move,
Why
VTech
will
man.
it not give it to me? Bun comes in the grass.
Come on, Carl, give me some space.
And mind you, it's just one
Who's
lap.
cutting the track?
Cutting the track is fine. Someone's going around. Several guys going around. Oh, Bun comes in the wall. Bun comes in the
Damn you,
wall.
Bun, come.
On board now with Sparks, who I think is running in 5th place at the moment.
No, he's 4th, I think.
No,
Leave
he's
me.
fifth. No, he's fifth. And Wake, you're not. I don't know. Someone's not in the standings for some reason.
I'm behind Wake, but in front of him.
Who's
if that makes
leading?
sense.
Someone's leading, but whoever's leading. Oh, it's Shoma's leading. Oh my God! But Shoma's the seventh in my standings, which is probably the penalty for cheating on the line.
I'm sorry.
You dirty baguette.
I'm parked.
Oh, Bun comes gun off again. No. And Carm is forcing one of the others. Oh, he's getting pinned. He's getting the
I
pin
want your
maneuver.
slipstream.
And he's facing the
I
right
want your
way, which
slipstream.
incidentally is the wrong way, which leaves him in the spot of butter. And
How many
in
laps?
No.
one lap, which all of this, it means that
Move over.
Calm, go
No.
away, calm.
I need some nitrous.
Nope.
but we're not yet across the line.
He's here.
The line is there. And Shoma wins!
Well done, buddy.
Wesson second.
No.
Who was third? I didn't see
Me.
that.
It was Mr. Sparks.
Sparks in third indeed. Bigman, it's backwards racing. It's the most stupid shit you'll ever see on GT Sport. It's pure Dutch tradition, and I'm not even Dutch, but look it up. Backwards racing.
Wat een prestatie. Wat een prestatie.
Wat een prestage. Voor Schomer,
Grazie ragazzi.
de Fransman.
De Frans.
Frankia. From Frankia.
Van Frankrijk.
Van Frankrijk.
Dat is in Frankrijk. Oh, anyways, enough with the Dutch. Enough with the Dutch. From the Dane and from everyone else here at Half the Race Gone plus friends. It's been a pleasure having you on. Thanks for tuning in to our set of very good races plus absolute silliness following up here. Do tune in to our next broadcast coming up this coming Thursday with the TSR Super Touring series.
Yes.
And
Give us a like. Subscribe.
that too. And of course this coming Sunday for the NES and whatever might come up there in the meanwhile.
Again in the same spot.
Until next time, everyone, that's all folks. Take care. Have fun. Bye bye.